Hey there, listeners. This is your host, Trenz, signing in, and welcome to another episode of Trenz Podcast. For today's episode, I will be doing a book review of the third and fourth book in the Chronicles of Narnia, written by author C.S. Lewis. The titles of the books are The Voyage of the Dawn Treader and The Silver Chair. Also follow me on my social media accounts such as Instagram at TrenzYBA, Twitter at Katrina Ybañez, and on YouTube as Katrina Ybañez. Without further ado, let's begin the book review. What can be read at the back of the book of The Voyage of the Dawn Treader? Narnia, the world of wicked dragons and magic spells, where the very mouse is brought out of even the worst of people, where anything can happen, and most often does, and where the adventure begins. The Dawn Treader is the first ship Narnia has seen in centuries. King Caspian has built it for his voyage to find the seven lords, good men, whom his evil uncle Miraz banished when he usurped the throne. The journey takes Edmund, Lucy, and their cousin Eustace to the eastern islands beyond the Silver Sea towards Aslan's country at the end of the world. Remember how I said that Prince Caspian was the third book to be read if you want to read in chronological order in the timeline of Narnia? Well, I was wrong. It's the fourth book that you should read. And you'll soon know why in the second book review of today's episode. But before I do that, let's go on to the book review of the first book in today's episode, which is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by author C.S. Lewis, genre fiction, children's, classics and fantasy, number of pages 256. Started reading this book on January 6, 2022, and finished reading this book on January 8, 2022, and I read it in ebook format. This is also the fifth book that you must read if you want to follow the chronological order of the timeline in Narnia. I would definitely recommend reading this book. As much as I loved watching the movie of the same title, I found that I enjoyed reading the book so much more. Here we join Prince Caspian and his crew, as well as Edmund, Lucy, and unfortunately their cousin Eustace, Clarence, Scrub, and don't you forget Reepicheep, as they journey beyond the country of Narnia and the Lone Islands, on a ship called the Dawn Treader, in search of the seven lords who were once close friends of Caspian's father. We meet the first lord on an island still ruled by Narnia. And here are the following islands they discovered. Dragon Island, where Eustace became a dragon. An island where the stream of fresh water turns anything it touches into cold. Kind of like Midas touch. The Duffer's Island, the Dark Island, and lastly, an island where they encounter a fallen star and his daughter, who later becomes Prince Caspian's wife and future Queen of Narnia. We can also see creatures that we have never seen before. So read the book to join the adventure, my dear listeners. Hello everyone, this is what can be found at the back of the book of the fourth publication of the Chronicles of Narnia, titled The Silver Chair. Jill and Eustace must rescue the prince from the evil witch. Narnia, where owls are wise, where some of the giants like to snack on humans, where a prince is put under an evil spell, and where the adventure begins. Eustace and Jill escape from the bullies at the school through a strange door in the wall, which for once is unlocked. It leads to the open moor, or does it? Once again, Aslan has a task for the children, and Narnia needs them. Through dangers untold and caverns deep and dark, they pursue the quest that brings them face to face with the evil witch. She must be defeated if Prince Rilian is to be saved. This is the second book that I will be reviewing for this episode. The title is The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis. Genre fiction, children's classics, and fantasy. Number of pages 243. I started reading this book on January 9, 2022 and finished reading this book on January 11, 2022, and I read it as an ebook format. While this is the fourth book in the Chronicles of Narnia that I've read, due to it being the fourth book published, this is the sixth book you must read in the series in order to follow the chronological timeline in Narnia. I would definitely recommend reading this book. We are introduced to a new character named Jill Paul, a daughter of Eve, and reintroduced to Eustace, Aslan, and Narnia itself. Caspian is now an old king who has lost hope in ever finding his missing son and only heir after the death of his wife, and sets out to sea in hopes of finding Aslan and getting his help. Meanwhile, Jill and Eustace miss saying hello to an old friend, and must embark on their own with only Aslan's clues to find the missing Prince Rilian, with the aid of Puddlegloom, a Narnian marshwiggle. Here are the signs that Aslan himself recited to Jill in order to find the prince. The first sign: as soon as Eustace sets foot in Narnia, he will meet an old friend. He must greet the old friend at once. If he does, you both will have good help. Second, you must journey out of Narnia to the north till you come to a ruined city of ancient giants. Third, you shall find writing on a stone in that ruined city, and do what the writing tells you. Fourth, you will know the lost prince, if you find him, by this, that he will be the first person you have met in your travels who will ask you to do something in my name, in the name of Aslan. Will they ever find the lost prince? Read the book to find out, my dear listeners. Read the book to find out. Hey there, listeners. That's all for today's episode of Trenz Podcast. You can find Trenz Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to follow or subscribe and leave a comment. If you want to hear more book reviews and other topics, stay tuned for another episode of Trenz Podcast and keep on listening.